Mukaru TV.
Designing is not just a matter of having some work done. It's about creativity, passion, visualizing, and knowing what a customer needs. That's exactly what we give you right here at Mukaru Signs. We have designers who design your work to your satisfaction, be it banners, roll-ups, stickers, billboards, and many more. Visit us at our NG Plaza, 2nd floor, room 15 and 16. You can as well call us on 0721258803. Mukaru Signs Shop. We are what you want. We are what you need.
Ulera Mukaru TV.
Ngatho muthikiriria witu muthe wa Mukaru TV goko ni kwa Mukaru Size. Mukaru Size ni kambuni iria guthondekagira indo. Iguthondekagira indo yendete. Goko ni kuo tuikaraga, andu akwa tuikaraga twendanite muno. Tukoragwo twi kindu kimwe. Na indi marugamagirira niho ndimwiraga ati mukage tukamurutira wira mwega, mukarutirwo ni andu makenete wira, andu matari siasa, andu matari ngucanio. Andu matari uhoro wa gutinda makiaria maundu matiganite, twaragia uhoro wa biacara na twikaga guku maundu mothe wendo utongoretie. Tamenya we niwe mucerere ako nduri na mbeca cia kibao kia wira ukatwaraniria tondu guku kibao kia wira wenda billboard ni tuthondekaga, wenda bana ni magana matatu no matume utoke kuma guthoka na mbere. Wira rugama wa siasa utari rona Mukaru Size ndore rakinya haria hagirire tondu ni ri mundu uria wa ma thiini wa industry ndutite wira miaka 31 na ngoragwo ndi sawa ndi muthuri unyitaga muthigi na nyitaga kirikaniro woka na kirikaniro tuciraga na kirikaniro woka na muthigi tuciraga na muthigi na woka na biacara ni turutaga wira na biacara tondu andu othe thiini wa Mukaru Size ni maiganagira. Uria wina mabeca maingi oka kwa Mukaru Size ni iganagira. Ona wina tubeca tuni oka kwa Mukaru Size tamenya ni iganagira. Na ithuothe tuticaguraga. We woka na mbeca nyingi matukaga tukaiguana wega muno. We woka na tubeca tunini na tukaga tugateithania wega muno. Tamenya Mukaru Size ni kambuni iria ndigaru ya gukorwo ati hindi ciothe twaragia maundu ma kwenda andu aria angi magie biacara ciao cikiambatira cikara ikiambararaga igaikara gikoragwo ati nicio iratuma maundu mothe magirire ati hindi riothe turakorwo tugicemania guku turaria cia biacara uria yaku igukira rimwe tuikaraga thi tukorania atiriri wira wakwa ungiukirira atia nituteithanagia tukerana hagirwo gwika no tondu mwena wa biacara bado no ndeithagiriria mundu tondu thiini wa ku advertise ni utakwira mundu kiri utigitie ni giki marangi maria mendagia muno ni ukaga ngagutariria tondu horo wa business ndi mithomete wega ndina degree ya business njega muno na ni wega muno guka nigetha wone wira uria ndiraruta na uria ndirakwira nyenda gukwira undu kuona ati uguo ndirakwira niguo njikaga ni ndirie andu aria maragia mategwika ni ndigeria uhoro wa biacara ni biacara ndutaga na ngeria uhoro wa kurutira andu wira ndutire andu wira magakoragwo mari aira bururi wothe na nikio nditiaga ngauga ati Mukaru Size ni kambuni iria iho itigaririire thiini wa industry ni undu wa kwaria ma na gukoragwo tuli andu transparent na gukoragwo ati twakwira ni turadeliver free tudeliver free na twakwira ni magana matatu gwitu gutire broker na gutikoragwo no goro wa mundu gutinda agitwarithia uguo ati njira cia shortcut ithuĩ tuli andu a quality na nikio twihinguragira tukagia nginya na Mukaru TV tukagia na Mukaru Size brand name yitu tukamirugamirira ona riu no ndimirugamirire na ndiguthukaga. Imagine twerekeire hindi ya siasa we ndurathondeka kalenda ndugithondeke kalenda nduke thiini wa Mukaru Size tuthondeke kalenda tuthondeke brochures tuthondeke business cards tuthondeke t-shirts tuthondeke reflective jackets tuthondeke stickers cia branding ngari tuthondeke mabanners makwa barabara ukiumira uguo ukihuhwo biringi ni IBC ukorwo wi mbere taiteke na hindi ciothe twikaga maundu wenda utongoretie kuria Thika twi nyumba itagwo Teithia House kwa Nkrumah Street ikoragwo i first floor room 33 guku Nairobi tukoragwo handu hetagwo Ronald Gara Avenue he nyumba thaka muno itagwo RNG Plaza ukoragwo haha ngoroba ya keri namba 15 na 16 mutigiuke namba cia thimu cia wira-ini iria ungitaipa thaa ici uikie kanyamu na yoro riu ni namba 2 0721 444 261 0721 444 261 iwe ingi 0721 258 803 0721 258 803 ukai murehe wira turutaga wira wendo tongoretie.
Mukaru TV.
Good afternoon and thank you for tuning in to Mukaru TV. Welcome to our afternoon bulletin. My name is Brenda Maramba. President William Ruto has left political observers talking after showering unexpected high-stake praise on his National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, John Mbadi. During a public address, the head of state went as far as promising the former opposition fierce liner a permanent legacy. The president commended the Treasury boss for his sharp mind and fast learning curve, noting that Mbadi has brought a steady hand to the country's complex financial sector since stepping into the docket.
Assurance that under my administration, we will work with all actors. We will work together in a way that brings the whole nation together. I must thank the political class. I want to commend the Honorable Buru Odinga, now the leader of ODM, for coming together under the broad-based arrangement. Today, John Mbadi is providing leadership that has never been witnessed. I can confirm to you, John, that when I write my book, you will have ample space on what you and me have discussed, and your team at the Treasury, of course, including all the other actors that have taken this to the future. I also must commend the Leader of Majority, who is here, and our members in Parliament, members of the Finance Committee, all the members. They've been, I remember on, I think it was Wednesday last week, and I was out of the country. I had gone to attend the graduation of my daughter. And discussions in Parliament went up to midnight. Consultations outside the official space in Parliament. And I was with Lawrence there, and he was in consultation. They were on a call with Parliament. And finally, Parliament came together in a very bipartisan way and said we must move the country forward. I commend them. And thank you very much, Kimani, for your leadership, the chair of our Finance Committee for his leadership, and all the other actors. I don't take it for granted because I know what it means. We have tried to do this as a country for many years. It has not happened, not because others did not try, not because they didn't want to do it, but it didn't come together. We are privileged that we have managed to bring it together. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
I will request that we all be upstanding as we come to the formal and official close of this particular ceremony with...
A coalition of civil society organizations in Mombasa is demanding immediate accountability from the state over what they call a worrying rise in police brutality and enforced disappearances. The right groups are now calling for a swift, completely independent probe into the conduct of security agencies, arguing that internal oversight bodies have been too slow to deliver justice to affected families.
We will not relent. We will not surrender. The freedom justice, the freedom struggle cannot end in 1990. It will still continue in our spirit. It will still continue in our lives.
Tunakumbuka shujaa zetu ambao walikuja mbele yetu kujitolea kutetea nchi yetu, na miaka 36 iliyopita kuna watu wazalendo walitokezea kutetea multi-party democracy, na kabla ya wao pia kulikuwa na wazalendo wengine ambao wamejitolea kuunda katiba yetu. Na sisi kama wananchi tunajua bado tuko na kazi, kwa sababu katiba yetu ni kama serikali wamesuspend haki ambao wananchi wote wanafaa kuwa nayo: the right to life, the right to good education, afya bora, dignified life. Hiyo ni kama ni wao peke yao ambao wanasikia hizo raha, lakini si raha, ni haki. So sisi kama wananchi pia tuko hapa leo kuwakumbuka na kuendelea kutekeleza katiba yetu na mapambano ambao bado inaendelea hapa Kenya. Kuna vitu nyingi. Mwanzo ni kuwakumbuka mashujaa zetu ambao wameuliwa na hii serikali, na pia kusema hii mambo ya kupoteza watu, ku enforced disappearances, kutekwa nyara, kuwaua, lazima imaliziwe, stop. Hatuwezi endelea na polisi na security forces ambao wanaua wa Kenya. So leo tunasema pia end enforced disappearances ambao zinaendelea Kenya, na pia tuko hapa kutekeleza katiba yetu.
Presence ya polisi unaionaje?
Pole?
Presence ya polisi unaonaje wengi?
Naona sijui ni kama 200, 300 nimeona tangu tufika hapa, na sisi tuko kama watu 30. So vizuri wamesoma katiba, pia wanajua ni haki yetu kutulinda na kutupatia security. So sijui kwa nini hii serikali inapenda kutumia resources nyingi kwa upande wa police, wananchi wakiwa peaceful, lakini uende shuleni ama uende kwa chemist na hakuna madawa, barabara mbaya. So kwa upande ya security kujaribu kutisha wananchi, watatoa resources nyingi sana. So waskari wako wengi lakini hatuogopi.
Asante. Tunataka kuona hii kitu kifikia Murkomen leo. Na IG.
Thank you,
na
thank
President
you.
William Ruto.
This is the petition for today's Sabasaba Maandamano. Is well received. I'm receiving it on behalf of the government. So thank you very much. As I said earlier, I think we have organized ourselves very, very well, and I think it's becoming a tradition for us in Mombasa that the government, the security personnel, we work very, very closely with wananchi. I believe if there is anything, and now that we are all citizens of this country, if there is anything that needs to be handled, we can handle it in a much better way, like the way things here and there. So I want to assure yourselves and everyone else that we have received the necessary steps and ensure that at least the issues that are here, they are addressed. They are addressed. Of course, mkiwa mmepatana hivi.
And in other news, the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi has thrown his full weight behind the administration's economic and structural agenda, making a definitive claim about the head of state's legacy. According to Mbadi, despite the current economic headwinds and vocal public discourse, President William Ruto is on track to go down in history as Kenya's most reform-minded and transformative leader.
Where are you taking us?
Thank you very much. First, let me make it clear that, in my opinion, President William Samoei Ruto will go down in history as the most reform-minded and transformative president that this country has ever had and probably will ever have. I say so because in this administration we have seen privatization acts, legislated and enacted, very transformative. And you know, when you want to transform a country or any system, you must disrupt it. So what we are seeing is actually disruption that is positive and progressive. We have just had National Infrastructure Fund enacted into law, and a fund that has attracted over 2.8 billion US dollars. If you study or you take a sample of all the funds that have been set up, the National Infrastructure Funds, probably ours has the highest startup or initial capital. I have discussed the Indian fund, the Indian model with them. They started with less amount than ours. So we are starting at a very strong position. Now we have the Sovereign Wealth Fund, another first for this administration. So I don't think I'm sycophantic if I say that President William Ruto will go down as the most transformative, the most reform-minded president, and thankfully I will be hanging on his coat for the period that I served in this office, also to be branded probably the most transformative cabinet secretary, depending on how long I sit here. But like a joke, but it's the reality that we are taking this country routing through Norway. Quickly, we will make sure that we fast track the journey. That is why we are starting. National Infrastructure Fund is up, and the board will be announced soon. And again, now today we are enacting another fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, with very robust governance structures from the government. So I see it's going to be very critical. Remember of petroleum products, the oil prices, and you hear people talk of reduced prices. For you to be able to manage that, the shocks, you must have a dedicated fund that would help you do that. And this is one of the routes of petrol, for example. It is not possible. But that is what you are made to believe, that the government can just stand somewhere and say the prices of diesel will come from 182 to 60 shillings. It cannot happen. It will only happen when we have deliberate and dedicated funds which would help us in approaching such initiatives. Thank you very much.
So, Your Excellency, no pressure whatsoever from what I'm hearing.
The upcoming Olkalou by-election has officially turned into the ultimate political battleground for supremacy in Mount Kenya, with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now leading the Democracy for Citizens Party and squaring off directly against President William Ruto's UDA. The underlying warning and political heat Gachagua has directed towards President Ruto regarding the region can be broken down into a few critical focal points.
Mutanisaidia? Mutusaidiane? So mimi niseme maneno yuko namna hiyo. Si ndio? Wacha kwanza tunyoroshe pale Olkalou. Pale amemwaga pesa. Hata hakuna change. Ukitaka chai ni 1000. Wewe ukunywe chai 1000 pahali utashibia uende. Pombe ukilipa 1000. Ukitaka maandazi 1000. Pale amelete mpaka gari ya moshi. Jana amelete meli. Pale kila barabara nawekwa maram. Pale pesa inapeanwa kila mtu 10,000. Sasa tunauliza Wakenya wengine, kwani hii Ruto anabeba nyinyi ufala namna gani? Wewe bwana Havi. Akienda hapo Western anapatia Waluya 200. Akija Mlimani anapeana 1,000. Kumekuwa by election Emurwa Dikir kwa Kipsigis. Hakujenga barabara, hakupeleka gas, hakuweka stima, hakufanya chochote. Akija Kikuyuni analeta mambo kubwa kubwa. Lazima Wakenya wengine waanze kujiuliza, kwani nyinyi Ruto anabeba nyinyi ufala kwa nini? Na hii Wakikuyu hata wakifanya hiyo mambo yote wanasema ni one time. Si ndio? Sasa pale ndege karibu sinagongana kwa hewa. Mpaka tunauliza IG atafute base commander awekwe huko kwa hewani to manage traffic. Mandege pale nasunguka olokalau. Hatujaona kitu kama hiyo tangu dunia yubwe. Magari maprado ni zaidi ya 1,000. Pale malodging mpaka bei imepandishwa. Kwa sababu sasa manyumba ni kidogo. Mpaka manyumba ya watu imekuwa converted into lodgings. Sasa watu wanahama, wanaenda kwa nyanya yao, nyumba wanakodisha watu ya Kasongo. The economy of Olokala.
Six people are dead and 41 others are fighting for their lives in hospital following a horrific late-night pile-up on the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. The accident, which occurred near Konza in the Kapiti area, involved a Mombasa-bound Tahmid bus and 2 trucks. Police say the crash was triggered when one of the trucks attempted an overtaking maneuver, leading to a catastrophic head-on collision.
My name is Patrick Gaitevira, OGW, Sub-County Police Commander, Kalama. This morning, we have a road traffic accident that is fatal that occurred at around 1 a.m. this morning. It involves 3 vehicles, 2 trailers and a bus. The trailer was coming from Mombasa to Nairobi, and there was a bus heading to Mombasa from Nairobi, from Tahmid company. What happened when they reached at the position, or rather the location of the accident, there was overtaking by one of the lorry. So as a result, there was head-on collision between the trailer and the bus. It was so serious that on the spot we had 6 people who died, and others, a number of them sustained serious and minor injuries and were rushed to Machakos Level 5 hospital. The trapped bodies have already been retrieved from the bus, and as we are talking, they have already been taken to Machakos Level 5 hospital, Mall. So my advice to all of the users is to take caution, and especially when you are overtaking, be very careful. You can look at the distance and you see whether you will be able to make it. If not, just take your time so that you reach your destination safely.
Elsewhere, President William Ruto has firmly declared that the government will not introduce any new taxes to fund its multi-billion shilling infrastructure agenda. Seeking to reassure a heavily burdened public speaking from State House, the head of state unveiled a massive 150 billion plan to completely modernize and expand the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Crucially, President Ruto maintained that the mega project will not be financed through fresh tax hikes or expensive external loans.
Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Your Excellencies, distinguished leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this, in my opinion, very consequential ceremony this morning. There are moments in the life of a nation when history is recorded not in years, but in months. In March this year, Kenya changed how it will finance its development to build the assets of the future through the National Infrastructure Fund that we brought into force. Today, Kenya changes again how it will preserve its wealth and its future. Today, we enshrine in law the institution that will ensure that the prosperity of those assets we create endures for generations, and that is the National Sovereign Wealth Fund. Let me state the principle plainly, because everything I say after this flows from it. If the National Infrastructure Fund builds the assets that grow our nation, the Sovereign Wealth Fund preserves and multiplies the wealth the assets create. I know there was a question asked to the panelists. I must congratulate all the panelists who spoke here for their candor in explaining to us from their perspective, from the private sector perspective, what they see in what we are doing as government. And the question was, we have the National Infrastructure Fund, now we have the Sovereign Wealth Fund. What is the difference and what is the connection? In my very simple understanding, the National Infrastructure Fund builds our present. You know very well that we have many projects, critical infrastructure that we are desirous of building as a nation. But on the other hand, we have limited resources on how to deliver on these very critical infrastructure projects. The National Infrastructure Fund creates the bridge between the infrastructure projects that we need for our growth and the resources that will unlock the capital for us to implement these projects. I will give you an example. We've just signed the contract for the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. It's going to be a 150 billion shilling project. We cannot build that project using our budget because it's heavy. So we will not borrow and we will not add additional taxes. What's going to happen is that we're going to use 20 billion shillings of the money we raised under our National Infrastructure Fund to crowd in the balance of the money from the private sector. That is how innovation works in the transformation of a nation. That is why in our midst here, we have fund managers, we have different investors, we have banks, who are looking at the opportunity, pension funds who are looking at the opportunity to invest in Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. That is what NIF is going to do. But Sovereign Wealth Fund will connect the investment we are making in Jomo Kenyatta to the future generations.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Mukaru TV. For this news and more, continue watching, keep sharing and engaging on our social media platforms. Have a lovely evening. Have a lovely afternoon. My name is Brenda Maramba.
Mukaru TV.
Designing is not just a matter of having some work done. It's about creativity, passion, visualizing, and knowing what a customer needs. That's exactly what we give you right here at Mukaru Signs. We have designers who design your work to your satisfaction, be it banners, roll-ups, stickers, billboards, and many more. Visit us at our NG Plaza, 2nd floor, room 15 and 16. You can as well call us on 0721258803. Mukaru Signs Shop. We are what you want. We are what you need.
Urerorera Mukaru TV.
Ngatho muthikiriria witu wo muthe wa Mukaru TV goko ni kwa Mukaru Size. Mukaru Size ni kambuni iria guthondekagira indo iguthondekagira indo yendete guku ni kuo tuikaraga andu akwa tuikaraga twendanite muno tukoragwo twi kindu kimwe na indi marugamagirira niho ndimwiraga ati mukage tukamurutira wira mwega mukarutirwo ni andu makenete wira andu matari siasa andu matari ngucanio andu matari uhoro wa gutinda makiaria maundu matiganite twaragia uhoro wa biacara na tuikaga guku maundu mothe wendo tongoretie tamenya wende we mucerere ako nduri na mbeca cia kibao kia wira ukatwaraniria tondu guku kibao kia wira wenda billboard ni tuthondekaga wenda bana ni magana matatu no matume utoke kuma guthoka na mbere wira rugama wa siasa utari rona Mukaru Size rore rakinya haria hagirire tondu ni ri mundu uria wama thiini wa industry ndutite wira miaka 31 na ngoragwo ndi sawa ndi muthuri unyitaga muthigi na nyitaga kirikaniro woka na kirikaniro tuciraga na kirikaniro woka na muthigi tuciraga na muthigi na woka na biacara ni turutaga wira na biacara tondu andu othe thiini wa Mukaru Size ni maiganagira uria wina mabeca maingi oka kwa Mukaru Size ni iganagira ona wira tubeca tundi oka kwa Mukaru Size tamenya ni iganagira na ithuothe tuticaguraga we woka na mbeca nyingi matukaga tukaiguana wega muno we woka na tubeca tunini na tukaga tugateithania wega muno tamenya Mukaru Size ni kambuni iria ndigaru ya gukorwo ati hindi ciothe twaragia maundu ma kwenda andu aria angi magie biacara ciao cikiambatira cikara ikiambararaga igaikara gikoragwo ati nicio iratuma maundu mothe magirire ati hindi rĩothe turakorwo tugicemania guku turaria cia biacara uria yaku igukira rimwe ni tuikaraga thi tukorania atiriri wira wakwa ungiukirira atia ni tuteithanagia tukerana hagirwo gwika no tondu mwena wa biacara bado no ndeithagiriria mundu tondu thiini wa ku advertise ni hotaga kwira mundu kiria utigitie ni giki marangi maria mendagia muno ni ukaga ngagutariria tondu horo wa business ndi mithomete wega ndina degree ya business njega muno na ni wega muno guka nigetha wone wira uria ndiraruta na uria ndirakwira nyenda gukwira undu kuona ati uguo ndirakwira niguo njikaga ni ndirie andu aria maragia mategwika ni ndigeria uhoro wa biacara ni biacara ndutaga na ngeria uhoro wa kurutira andu wira ndutire andu wira magakoragwo mari aira bururi wothe na nikio nditiaga ngauga ati Mukaru Size ni kambuni iria iho itigaririire thiini wa industry ni undu wa kwaria ma na gukoragwo turi andu transparent na gukoragwo ati twakwira ni tura deliver free to deliver free na twakwira ni magana matatu gwito gutire broker na gutikoragwo no horo wa mundu gutinda agitwarithio gwate njira cia shortcut ithuĩ tũrĩ andũ a quality na nĩkĩo twĩhingũragĩra tũkagĩa nginya na Mukaru TV tũkagĩa na Mukaru Science brand name itũ tũkamĩrũgamĩrĩra ona rĩu no ndĩmĩrũgamĩrĩire na ndĩgũthũkaga. Imagine twerekeire hĩndĩ ya siasa we ndũrathondeka kalenda ndũgĩthondeke kalenda ndũke thĩinĩ wa Mukaru Science tuthondeke kalenda tuthondeke brochures tuthondeke business cards tuthondeke t-shirts tuthondeke reflective jackets tuthondeke stickers cia brand ngari tuthondeke mabanners ma kwa barabara ukiumĩra ũguo ũkĩhuhwo biringi ya IBC ũkorwo wĩ mbere taiteke na hĩndĩ ciothe twĩkaga maũndũ wenda ũtongoretie kũrĩa Thĩka twĩ nyũmba ĩtagwo Teithia House kwa Nkrumah Street ĩkoragwo ĩ first floor room 133 gũkũ Nairobi tũkoragwo handũ hetagwo Ronald Ngara Avenue he nyũmba thaka mũno ĩtagwo RNG Plaza tũkoragwo haha ngoroba ya kerĩ namba 15 na 16 mũtigiũke namba cia thimũ cia wĩra-inĩ ĩrĩa ũngĩtaipa thaa ici ũikie kanyamũ na yoro rĩu nĩ namba 2 0721 444 261 0721 444 261 ĩyo ĩngĩ 0721 258 803 0721 258 803 ukai murehe wira turutaga wira wendo tongoretie.
Urerorera Mukaru TV.